Hi there, everyone. Welcome back to 3 News Now. I'm Stephanie Haney. Today is Tuesday, August 24th. Thank you for being here for the top stories from WKYC.com and our WKYC app. We start with breaking news today, earlier from today, that Rolling Stones drummer Charles Watts has passed away at the age of 80. His publicist confirmed that today. Bernard Doherty said that he passed away peacefully in a London hospital earlier today, surrounded by his family. He described him as a cherished husband, father, and grandfather, and also a member of the Rolling Stones, one of the greatest drummers of his generation. He joined the Stones in early 1963, and he was with the band for the next 60 years, just behind Mick Jagger and Keith Richards as the group's longest-lasting and most essential member. He didn't care for flashy solos or attention really of any kind, and he did definitely have his quirks, like collecting cars, even though he never drove. He just left those cars sitting in his garage, and that brought him a lot of joy. He had announced that he wouldn't be touring with the Rolling Stones in 2021 because of an undefined health issue, and today he has passed away. Our thoughts are with his loved ones. Now here in Northeast Ohio, it is a hot one, and there were some schools closed today because of excessive heat. So we also know there will be some schools closed tomorrow in preparation for more excessive heat. West Geauga local schools will be closed. So will some schools in the Avon Lake City Schools District. Its elementary schools and the Learwood Middle School will be closed due to excessive heat. Now, if you're in the Avon Lake City Schools District and you had someone scheduled for pre-K or kindergarten orientation, here's what will be happening. If they were scheduled for that on Tuesday, that will now be on Thursday. If they were scheduled for that on Wednesday, that will now be on Friday. And the first full day of school for kindergarten students will be Monday, August 30th. So changing things up a little bit for the youngest kids in school. The first day of LEAPs will be on Tuesday, August 31st. Another place where they will be closing, Lincoln Park Academy in Cleveland, will also be closed due to the heat. Now, we learned more yesterday about what happened in Cedar Point with the top Thrill Dragster and a woman who was struck in the head. We now learned who that woman is. It's 44-year-old Rachel Hawes of Swartz Creek, Michigan, who was struck in the back of the head by a piece of metal shaped like an L. ODA Chief of Amusement Ride Safety David Moran says it was a piece of metal known as a flag plate. It was attached to the back of a train. They're attached to the back of each train, and it's sort of a sensor that helps operate the system monitoring the vehicles on the track. It's about the size of a human hand. Now, the plate broke off of the coaster's green train on the top Thrill Dragster, and roughly half of the bolts that were supposed to keep it in place had come off. Also on the top Thrill Dragster, we're now learning that portions of the track were damaged by some sort of impact. We don't know exactly what impact, but Moran pointed out that officials don't yet know how the piece broke off or where the train was when it did, but it was possible that the train was going at its top speed of 120 miles per hour when it happened. So the family of Rachel are now saying that they're devastated by the last weekend's events at Cedar Point, and they want to thank everyone for their thoughts and prayers. Rachel is fighting for her life, and they would like privacy in this difficult time. Those were their words, that Rachel is fighting for her life. So we're certainly thinking of her and sending positive energy to that family dealing with that. Now let's take a look at the latest COVID-19 numbers in from the Ohio Department of Health. A big number today. The Ohio Department of Health reports 4,117 new cases of COVID-19 in the last 24 hours. Now that 21-day average, lifting that up to 2,623. Now there are over 2,000 people in the hospital related to COVID. That number is 2,095 here in Ohio. Out of those people, 610 of them are being treated in the ICU. Now, we have seen an increase in vaccinations across Ohio as the Delta variant is putting more people in the hospital. Yesterday, we got the news that the FDA has fully approved the vaccine that has been crafted by Pfizer and BioNTech. That new vaccine name will be Comirnaty, as it is marketed now that it's been fully FDA approved. So now here in Ohio, more than 51% of Ohioans, we are over the halfway mark of people who have started the vaccination process. That's over 6 million Ohioans who have had the first dose. Now, slightly over 40% of Ohioans are fully vaccinated. That number is still lagging because, again, you're not fully vaccinated until 2 weeks after your second dose, and you've got to wait 2 to 3 weeks between your first dose and your second dose. So we'll see that number go up later, assuming that these people stick with the protocol and get their second dose, or as we see people get a first dose of the Johnson & Johnson vaccine, because that's the only dose required. We're keeping an eye on that, and we will let you know. And while that's going on, in the Ohio House of Representatives, there is debate over an anti-vaccination bill. It's a Republican-backed bill. We talked about this before. It would stop Ohio employers from requiring workers to receive vaccination. So that's hearing testimony from supporters and opponents. It's before the House Health Committee right now, and it has attracted opponents of COVID-19 vaccines. Now, the bill doesn't mention COVID-19 specifically, but it's clear that that's what it's targeted, especially given the timing. But it does address mandatory requirements for all vaccines, such as the flu, for example. It would also prevent employees from being fired as a result of refusing to get vaccinated, and would allow them to sue their employers if they felt they had been wrongly dismissed for not getting vaccinated. So backers include the bill sponsor, Representative Jennifer Gross. They say that vaccinations should be a personal choice. Opponents of the bill include hospitals, state associations of doctors and nurses, and other healthcare groups. They say that this measure could reverse decades of protection against preventable diseases, things like measles, mumps, hepatitis, meningitis, and tuberculosis. Both the Ohio Manufacturers Association and the Ohio Chamber of Commerce are also opposed. Now, while that's happening in the Ohio House, here in Cleveland, we're getting a first look at a new extended stay hotel project that'll be coming to the downtown area. Dan Gilbert's Bedrock Detroit is bringing an extended stay hotel to the May in Cleveland. It'll be in the public square area, and it'll be a little bit different than what we're used to seeing downtown. This is being called the city's first high design extended stay hotel. Now, normally when you think of an extended stay hotel, you're thinking about something off the highway, something that a trucker might use if they're taking a bit of a break on the road somewhere else. But this will be right in the heart of downtown Cleveland in Public Square. There'll be 62 new suites at the historic May Company building. Operator Bedrock Detroit, again, that's run by Cavaliers owner Dan Gilbert. They'll be partnering with Roost Apartment Hotel for this project. So the new suites will come in a variety of options. You could get a studio, a 1, 2, or a 3-bedroom option, and they can be booked for any preferred duration. What's nice about this too is the amenities will be similar to the ones that the May's permanent residents have, including the fitness center, a rooftop terrace, and things like that. And those rooms are expected to be open to be potentially rented out for extended stays sometime in early 2022. So not too far off as we find ourselves nearing the end of August in 2021. Now, if it were available now and people were coming into town this weekend for the Jake Paul Tyron Woodley fight, they might be able to stay there, but there are plenty of other options in downtown Cleveland if you're coming in for that fight at Rocket Mortgage FieldHouse. And here's something that we might see. When I was talking with Jake Paul, the YouTube star and Westlake native, on my 3 Things to Know podcast this week, the topic of his girlfriend came up. He is dating Julia Rose. They've had an on-again, off-again relationship for quite some time, but now things seem to be heating up. On her Instagram page, I noticed that she added the name Paul to the end of her Instagram account. So I asked Jake about this. I said, "Are you married? Are you going into this Tyron Woodley fight a married man?" And he kind of laughed. He said, "No, we're not married yet," but he said it is coming soon. He said he got her a nice promise ring, a nice pre-engagement ring. So I asked him, I said, are we going to see another kind of ring in the ring after the Tyron Woodley fight? Maybe if you win. Now, he didn't say no, but he didn't say yes. He says he plans on proposing sometime soon. We'll see what happens, he says, but they are in love, and that's pretty dope. And we are very happy for them. Now, if you want to hear the full conversation with Jake Paul, check out my 3 Things to Know podcast. You can find that at wkyc.com/3 Things to Know. More changes coming to Jeopardy. We know that Mike Richards is out. He is the executive producer of the show. He was to be the main host. Mayim Bialik was going to help with primetime spots. Well, now we know after he stepped down after some controversial comments that he made on a podcast that he hosted a couple of years ago, we know now that Mayim Bialik, who you might know from Blossom or from The Big Bang Theory, who is an incredibly smart, incredibly accomplished person in addition to her acting career, she'll be guest hosting for the next 3 weeks for the upcoming episodes of Jeopardy. That was announced, and so that's who we will be seeing there. And if you can believe it, while we are in the middle of this heat wave, Starbucks today brought back its pumpkin spice latte. It's bringing out its fall menu now. Last year, when it brought back the PSL, it was the earliest it had ever done it. This year, again, breaking a record, the earliest they have ever done it. I guess people are just really excited for fall. I don't know how you can even think about fall when it's this hot outside. But I should also say that Dunkin' Donuts has had its pumpkin spice latte out for a little while now. But today in Starbucks, you'll be able to get it there if you want to. So now you have options if you're looking for your fall cravings. Other things on the Starbucks fall menu: pumpkin cream cold brew, pumpkin cream cheese muffin, and a pumpkin scone. So if you are hurting for fall and you're in that fall state of mind, you'll be able to get those items at Starbucks, or you can get your PSL at Dunkin' Donuts too. That's it for your 3 News Now update today for Tuesday, August 24th. I'll see you next up on What's New with your trending stories in the Clicking in Cleveland segment. We'll also be talking about how airlines work and why they are able to change your reservation with little to no notice, and what are some protections that you can think about or tips to know if that happens to you, if you're trying to get a better flight or you're trying to get some money back. That'll be in a Legally Speaking segment today on What's New. And I'll see you back here tomorrow for more 3 News Now.